You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
I have to admit, I had a bit of a panic attack this morning. I was trying to do the right thing, a bit of digital housekeeping.
Oh no, I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah, you do. So I opened up my downloads folder, which is basically a graveyard of good intentions at this point.
Oh.
And I found a file.
Let me guess. The naming convention was a disaster.
Complete disaster. It was named final_v3_really_final_ do not touch.fig.
Ah, the classic.
And I honestly stared at it for a full minute. I broke into a cold sweat.
Yeah.
I had absolutely no idea what was in it or if it was actually the final version. Or if opening it would somehow destroy the universe.
Yeah.
It is a proper nightmare, is not it?
It is the modern version of archaeology. You are there with your little brush digging through layers of sediment and files, trying to figure out if that pixel was pushed by you or a coworker or maybe just a ghost in the machine. It is chaos.
It is absolute chaos. But here's the thing I have been noticing. That feeling you get, that frantic shuffling of files and layers, it feels like it is shifting. We are moving away from that desperate pixel, pushing into something different. And that is exactly what we are going to unpack on this edition of Product Thursdays here on The Vocal Technologist.
It is a massive shift. I reckon we are seeing the role of the product designer move from pure execution into orchestration.
Orchestration. I like that word. It sounds fancy. Like I should be wearing a tuxedo and holding a baton.
Exactly. You are not drawing the boxes and arrows and agonizing over the border radius anymore. You are conducting the system.
Right. But before we get too highbrow and ahead of ourselves, we've got a massive stack of things to look at. We're going to explore the intersection of AI, some wild new hardware rumors that might actually change how we physically work, and this looming idea of a craft crisis in the industry.
And really the question underlying all of this is pretty simple, but also terrifying for a lot of people. Is technology replacing designers, or is it just finally forcing us to learn how to code?
Okay, let us get into it. You mentioned this craft crisis.
Mm-hmm.
I have been hearing whispers about this, but I feel like crisis is a bit of a dramatic word. What is the actual deal here?
It might sound dramatic, but there's this fascinating tension right now. We have these incredible tools like the new AI features in Figma that let you generate designs from a simple text prompt. You type, "Make me a landing page for a dog walking service," and boom, you've got a landing page.
Which, to be fair, sounds like a dream come true for anyone who hates staring at a blank canvas. It gets you to the starting line so much faster.
You would think so. But here is the catch. A lot of the output from these tools is, well, it is technically flawed.
How bad are we talking?
Pretty bad. We are talking about accessibility violations, poor code quality things that look right on the surface but are completely broken underneath.
So it is the classic looks good from afar but far from good scenario.
Yeah.
Like a house with a fresh coat of paint, but the plumbing is entirely rusted out.
Precisely. And this exposes the craft crisis. The argument is that AI democratization does not actually make design accessible to everyone.
Right, because it just generates the surface level stuff.
Spot on. It only really helps the people who already have the technical literacy to fix the mistakes the AI makes.
That makes sense.
If you do not know what good semantic HTML looks like, or why a button needs an ARIA label for a screen reader, you are just shipping broken products faster.
That is a really sobering thought.
Yeah.
It is like giving a high-powered nail gun to someone who has never built a shelf. You are just going to get a hole in the wall much faster. But hang on, is not the speed the point? In Agile, we are always told to move fast and break things. Why is this bad?
Because you are breaking the wrong things. Moving fast is fine if the foundation is solid, but if you are generating what we call div soup,
I love that.
just messy, unstructured code, if you are generating div soup, you are creating massive technical debt. You are building a skyscraper on a swamp.
And this leads to another concept that I absolutely love, which is the salad bar theory of UX professionalism.
The salad bar theory. Please explain this because I'm suddenly very hungry. Okay, imagine a massive salad bar. You can pile everything onto your plate. You can have the potato salad, the jelly, the roast beef, and the croutons all in one go.
Sounds like my kind of dinner.
Right. But just because you can pile it all on quickly does not mean you should.
Yeah.
And it definitely does not mean it is going to taste good.
Ah, I see. It is the obsession with volume. Just because I can put beetroot next to the chocolate mousse in 3 seconds does not make it a good dish.
Exactly. The industry has been obsessed with what some people call code by the pound. We celebrate speed, we celebrate shipping features, but real significance in product design comes from deciding what is actually worth building, not just how fast you can build it.
So we are moving from being short order cooks, just chucking things on the grill, to being executive chefs. It is about taste and judgment.
That is a perfect analogy. Value is shifting away from the pixel-level execution. As the invisible work like the engineering and the basic layout gets automated, the real constraint becomes human evaluation.
So the new skill set is not just, can you draw this?
No, it is, can you evaluate if this is good, and can you orchestrate the system to build it properly?
And that brings us to the scary part for a lot of designers, the code. There is this idea that designers are now expected to work directly in code through machine-readable design systems.
It is becoming inevitable. If the machine is doing the heavy lifting, you need to speak the language of the machine.
Speaking of machines and languages, let us talk about the tooling wars, because it feels like an absolute battleground out there. Figma is making some big moves to bridge this gap, right?
They certainly are. Figma has partnered with OpenAI to add Codex support. But the really interesting part is how they are doing it.
This is where we get into the weeds a bit. I heard about something called MCP.
Right, the Model Context Protocol. Think of MCP as a standardized translator. Usually when you give a large language model a design, it is just looking at pixels. It sees a red rectangle with text. It does not know what that is functionally.
Yeah, so it is just guessing. It is hallucinating that it is a button.
Exactly. But MCP lets Figma feed the AI the actual structure. It says this is not just a red rectangle, it is a primary button component with a hover state from our specific design system.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it gives the AI the semantic why behind the visual what. The idea is to reduce that friction when you hand off a design to a developer.
So no more here is the picture. Good luck guessing the margins. That sounds incredible.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
And there is always there is a critical look we need to take at the new Figma Make tool.
Go on. Burst my bubble.
Well, right now it is a bit of a make or break moment for them. The constraints are very real. It is largely a one-way export to GitHub.
Right, so you cannot pull changes back in yet.
Exactly. And the code quality is often quite generic. It keeps Figma firmly in the prototyping phase. It is great for showing how something works, but it is not quite production-ready engineering.
So it is still a simulation of the real thing. It's like a movie set. The front of the building looks amazing, but if you open the door, there's just scaffolding and dirt.
Spot on. Compared to competitors like Lovable or Cursor, which operate much closer to the real engineering pipelines, Figma is risking getting stuck in the middle.
Because tools like Cursor actually live inside the code editor, right?
Yes, they are for building the real product, not just a picture of it.
That is super interesting, because I have been seeing this trend pop up called sketching with code. And it sounds exactly like what you were describing. People are skipping the picture phase entirely.
It is the idea of life after Figma. Designers are starting to use low-fidelity code prototypes, literally just simple HTML divs, and then using AI to generate variations.
I saw this incredible example of a font called Rando Sans. Have you seen this? It absolutely blew my mind.
Yes. This is a perfect example of solving a creative problem through technical systems.
For those listening who have not seen it, this is not a designer sitting there drawing thousands of subtle letter variations. They use ChatGPT to write complex OpenType substitution logic.
And we really need to pause on how hard that actually is. OpenType logic is notoriously difficult. It is basically programming behavior inside a font file.
Which sounds terrifying.
It is a massive headache. To do this manually, you would be writing obscure scripts to tell the font, hey, if the user types an A and then another A, swap the second one for a slightly different glyph so it looks handwritten.
That sounds incredibly tedious.
It is, but they just asked ChatGPT to generate that code, effectively automating the randomness of handwriting.
That is the shift right there. They did not design the letters, they designed the logic that designed the letters.
And that is where the power lies now. It is not about knowing syntax perfectly, it is about knowing what is possible and asking the machine to execute it.
Now, we cannot talk about tools without mentioning the big giants. Adobe and Canva are not exactly sleeping on this, are they?
Not at all. Canva just acquired a company called Cavalry for two-dimensional motion and Mango AI for marketing. They are building a full professional suite to compete directly.
They are gobbling up everything.
They really are. And Adobe is pushing Firefly with this quick cut feature.
That one sounds wild. You just give it a natural language prompt and it edits the video for you.
Ideally, yes. It assembles a rough cut, trims the footage, and arranges takes. Again, it is about removing the drudgery of the initial assembly so you can focus on the creative decisions.
It is relentless.
Yeah.
The speed of change is just full on. But you know what else is changing? The actual glass we are touching.
Ah, yes. The hardware. This is where the digital meets the physical.
I'm actually genuinely excited about this one. The M6 MacBook Pro rumors. Are we finally, after all these years, getting a touchscreen Mac?
It looks that way. Reports are saying the M6 will be the first touchscreen Mac with an OLED screen and a dynamic island-style interface.
I feel like Steve Jobs is spinning in his grave somewhere. He absolutely hated the idea of touch on a laptop. He called it gorilla arm right.
He did, and the ergonomic argument is still totally valid. If you are reaching across your desk to touch a vertical screen for 8 hours a day, your arm is going to fall off. It is exhausting.
So why do it? Why change course now?
Because the operating system is supposed to adapt. It dynamically shifts between touch and traditional input. So when you reach out, the controls might get a bit bigger, a bit more touch-friendly.
Oh, okay.
It is meant for quick interactions. Zooming into a photo, scrolling a web page, swiping away a notification.
That makes heaps of sense. It is an and, not an or. It complements the trackpad rather than replacing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that is just a standard screen. What about when the screen disappears entirely? I was reading about this Jetpack Compose Glimmer for Google AI glasses.
This sounds like science fiction. Tell me about Glimmer.
This is where design gets really mind-bending. Designing for transparent screens means you have no traditional boundaries, there is no edge of the phone.
So you're just floating user interfaces in the real world.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the user has to shift focus between the interface and the wall behind it. It requires rethinking fundamental elements. Think about color. We are used to screens where black is just a pixel turned off. But on a transparent lens, using additive display technology, you cannot project black light.
Wait, I never actually thought about that. You cannot shine a black beam of light.
You cannot. Black on a transparent display is just transparency. You are seeing the real world through it. So you cannot use shadows. You cannot use dark modes in the same way. You have to design entirely with light and contrast against a completely unpredictable background.
And typography must be an absolute nightmare. If the background is a busy street or a bright sky, how do you make text readable?
It is a massive challenge. But speaking of readability, we need to have a serious reality check about mobile comprehension. Because we always assume if we put it on the screen, people read it.
Oh, this stat. I saw this and it genuinely scared me.
It should. There is research showing that comprehension drops from about 39% on desktop to just 19% on mobile.
Hang on. 19%. That is barely anything. That means 4 out of 5 things I write are just vaporizing.
Pretty much. It is less than 1 in 5 concepts actually landing. And it's not just because the screen is small, it is because of the conditions.
What do you mean the conditions?
Mobile reading happens when you are distracted. You are on the bus, you are walking, you are waiting for a coffee, you are dodging traffic.
So we spend all this time agonizing over the perfect layout, the perfect font size, writing these beautiful long paragraphs of copy. And if the user's on a phone, they're basically skimming and missing 80% of it.
It is a harsh truth. Mobile usability is not just about can they tap the button, it is did they actually understand what you told them.
That really reinforces the need for clear, simple writing. You cannot hide behind fancy interactions if the core message is getting lost in the noise of the real world.
Absolutely. Content is still king, especially when the cognitive load is that high.
Okay, let us pivot to something a bit more visual. Let us talk aesthetics, because I feel like we are in a bit of a weird moment with visual trends right now. Everything feels a bit samey.
We are definitely seeing some saturation.
First off, the rumors about the iPhone 18 Pro. Deep red.
It is bold, a definite move away from the safe grays and silvers.
I am into it, but it reminds me of this horror movie poster problem I was reading about. Have you noticed how every single horror movie poster looks exactly the same lately?
Oh, absolutely. The minimalist black and red formula,
Sure.
high contrast, negative space. It was striking maybe 5 years ago. Now just feels like a template.
It is that salad bar thing again. It is easy to replicate, so everyone just does it. But then you have something like the Utah 2034 Winter Olympics logo.
Now that was divisive.
It really was. It is this angular, almost strange typography. People hated it at first. But
Now it is gaining warmth, and I reckon that is because it has personality, it is not AI-generated smoothness, it is jagged, it feels human even if it is a bit weird.
weird is good. Weird is memorable. You know what is not memorable? Slop.
Ah, the AI slop. This is becoming a genuine commercial issue.
We are seeing huge brands like Coca-Cola and Samsung releasing these obviously AI-generated advertisements,
Yeah.
and they're not even hiding it.
No, they're doing it without remorse. It signals a shift where this slop, as we call it, this generic, glossy, slightly uncanny content is becoming commercially acceptable.
But is it depressing, though? Or is it just efficiency? If I'm scrolling past an ad at 100 miles an hour on my feed, does it really matter if a human poured their soul into the lighting or if a bot hallucinated a nice sunset?
That is the cynical view, and maybe you are right for the low attention stuff, but there is a counter movement, and I think this is where the actual hope lies. People crave connection.
Yes. Tell us about the ice cream.
The Snooze ice cream brand. This is a brilliant case study.
I absolutely love this story.
So instead of just asking AI to make an ice cream brand, they started with a core human insight. When do people actually eat ice cream?
At night, in the dark,
Yeah.
while binge-watching TV. Feeling a bit sorry for themselves, maybe.
Exactly. It is not sunny fields and smiling children. It is 11 p.m. on the couch in your sweatpants. So they built the entire brand around that reality. Dark palettes, calming ingredients like chamomile. It is a specific night-oriented brand identity.
And that is something an AI probably would not have come up with on its own. An AI would look at the massive data set of ice cream and say, bright colors, summer fun, because that is what the average is.
Precisely. The AI gives you the probabilistic average. It gives you what is expected. The human insight gave them the edge. It proves that human insight still beats generic AI output every single time.
That is the takeaway, is not it. We have spent the last 15 minutes talking about robots writing code and transparent screens disappearing into the real world. But it all comes back to knowing that people eat ice cream in the dark.
It really does. It is about empathy at the end of the day.
So let's try to wrap this up. What does all this mean for the person listening right now?
I think the synthesis is pretty clear. The tools are getting faster, incredibly faster. But that just means the baseline for good enough is rising rapidly. The need for human taste and the ability to orchestrate these tools is higher than ever before.
We are not just pixel pushers anymore. We are conductors.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, we are moving into what people are calling agentic UX.
Just quickly break that down for us. What exactly is agentic UX?
It is the idea that we are moving from designing screens for human eyes to designing systems for AI agents. It is not you using the app anymore. It is your AI assistant using the app for you. Does your button need to be clickable by a mouse, or does it need to be machine readable so a bot can book your flight for you in the background?
That is a whole other discussion in itself. That changes everything.
It really does. But it means we need to think about structure, logic, and data just as much as we think about colors and typography.
So if you are feeling overwhelmed by all the tech, just remember, the tech can do the heavy lifting, but you still have to tell it where to put the box.
Exactly. You are the one with the taste.
I want to leave everyone with a bit of a provocative thought to chew on. We have established that AI can generate the UI. It can increasingly write the actual code. So is your value in what you create, or is your value now defined entirely by the questions you ask the machine?
That is the million-dollar question right there.
Think about that next time you are staring at a blank prompt box.
Or a file named final_final.
Do not remind me. I'm going to go delete that file right now. All right, that is us for this session. If you are enjoying these explorations into the chaos of product design, make sure you subscribe to The Vocal Technologist so you do not miss the next Product Thursday.
We have got some really good ones coming up.
We certainly do. Thanks for listening, everyone.
See you later.
Spoken Tech for your ears.